So if you're to look at the uh, 4 stages or 5 stages of commerce, which is where we go from agrarian to raw material, then industrial, then service. Largely, our beverage industry is at the raw material stage, and this is why we pick much less for it on the international market than we could. And this is where companies like ours come in to add value and therefore possibly contribute a lot more tasteful products onto the international markets while bringing all those dollars back home. Like the president always says, every time, for example, I will use coffee. Every time you export raw coffee, you're exporting 7 layers of jobs, 7 layers of employment. So the more we can produce here, the more we can get value for here in terms of GDP, but also employment. So to answer your question, we are at the raw material stage, yet the world is at, I mean, people, yourself, they're making coffee pods, for example, tea pods, all sorts of, with the Keurig machines and this. So we're at a very early stage, and I think that creates a very wonderful opportunity for people who are thinking ahead.
How do we get there? How do we get to that world stage where, we are not just from the beginning or from the start, we are, having like a whole chain of production, and we're being productive in terms of like what we're putting out as an industry, but also the entire value chain is complete for additional gains. How do we get there as a country?
I would say something which I think we all already know, and this is value addition. It comes down to quality and sustainability of what you promise you can deliver on the international markets, because that's what our competitors are already doing. They add value and they continue to deliver. Because the thing about the Ugandan market is, I think we have a very limited understanding of retail markets and the demand that they have, or international retail. So we start out saying, oh yeah, we can be able to deliver this much, and then you're unable to keep it consistent. But if you add value, you make your product of a high quality, and then you deliver sustainably on the international market, and market as aggressively, then this is what would, I think, propel our products to that level. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a report here from Report Link. It says Uganda's tea production is projected to reach 68,000 metric tons by 2026. And in the previous year, it was 66,000 metric tons, which was 2021, around 2021. And it was representing 0.5% on a year average growth since 2017. Supplies have dropped by almost 3%. Uganda is known like for a tea drinking company, or I mean, a tea drinking nation. Why are we dropping? We're supposed to be, shooting upwards, but we're dropping.
I think it's attributed to the fact that tea estates are extremely expensive to run. And I think in the past 2 years alone, we had 9 tea estates closing, a lot of which have, the ones which stayed in business have had to get support from the government and the circles and this and that. So it is an expensive industry because of the kind of high capital investment that goes into it. But also, our tea does not fetch the value that it should fetch on the international markets. Because, for example, our black tea is taken to the Mombasa, where it is blended with Kenyan tea to show up on international markets as Kenyan tea. So we get lost somewhere in the noise. So somewhere between the high cost of running these companies and then fetching low prices for them on the international market, which to us international largely is Kenya, because no one wants to go through the labors of doing that themselves, or for whatever predatory reasons, that I won't get into with the Kenyans today. But for whatever predatory reasons, we are not fetching enough, yet the tea estates are expensive. And in terms of admin and even, capital.
I mean, I'm looking at the countries that Uganda is competing with here. We have like France, Germany, China, Italy, of course, the UK, Canada. These are all countries that have like systems in place to like compete amongst each other. And when I look at Uganda, even like at a simple product that we take pride in, personally, I've grown up drinking tea because that's like the setup like of a homestead. Like, okay, a regular homestead in Uganda. You wake up in the morning, you have a cup of tea, either go to the farm or go to the retail store, basically to do any other business. And if we capitalized on like such a system of like, okay, this is like a homestead product, how best can we put systems in place to promote this product even better so that Ugandans can take pride in it, and in the end we can have, more production and consumption of this product? Is the challenge the consumers, or the challenge is from the policy makers or whoever is leading this whole system? Where is the challenge?
To answer your question without dwelling on the challenge, I would like to see a Uganda where we leverage destination signaling, like what Kigali or Rwanda has done, um, where we leverage things like this through initiatives that already exist, like Bubu, Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. If a lot more energy was thrown into marketing that slogan and riding on that and creating incentives around that for small business owners or medium-sized business owners who don't have the capacity to market like that aggressively on an international scale, we would see a lot more demand going up. It is one thing for me as Anthea of Upper to go into the international market and push this product all by myself. But if I'm riding under the big wave or the big support of something like Buy Uganda, Build Uganda, if a lot more emphasis was put on it, it would take a lot of effort off my shoulders. So, at the risk of sounding like an advocate, and this is also something that exhausts MSMEs, we're saying we don't want to be the advocates for marketing for this. We came into this to be manufacturers, for example, and you find yourself as an advocate, a marketeer, and this and that and the other, a global marketeer. So, if we had things that already exist, initiatives like already exist, like Bubu, be stronger, I believe we would see a much more competitive position on the international markets.
Yeah, because we really need to position ourselves in the international market. I know sometimes we advocate for domestic consumption, but at the end of the day, if we don't get into the markets that, are hugely consuming this product, both the business personnel and the consumers are not going to benefit from whatever product that you're doing. So we need all the systems that would help us to get into the international market. And it goes back to like branding. It goes back to how you tell the story.